Hi everybody, my name is Pearl. Welcome back to Grace's Journey and God's Faithfulness. If you're new here, thank you so much for visiting our channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. So today we are going to continue with Grace's Journey and God's Faithfulness. We're going to start where we left off last week, where the doctors told us she had a day to 7 days to leave. And when she lived past that, they gave her a month to leave, and she passed that. So here we go. One morning, I remember Gracie was just working to breathe. More than ever, she was just working to breathe. You can see her ribs was sucking in. All here was just sucking in. It was just sucking in and out. And she was working so hard to breathe. The fellow on staff that morning came and she said to me, she's going to give Gracie Lasix to help her. I said, Lasix is not going to help Gracie right now. She was like, no, I am going to give her Lasix. I said, but Lasix is not going to help her. She's almost past, she is almost to the top of her dosage. And look how hard she's working to breathe. It's not going to work. CPAP is what's going to work for her. She wasn't happy. It was like, who are you to tell me what to do? She did not do it. She went ahead and told the nurses to give Gracie Lasix, and that's what they gave her. Gracie stayed there, and Gracie kept on working to breathe harder and harder and harder. When I stood there watching Gracie, I stood there helplessly watching Gracie. And at the time, I just couldn't take it no more. I couldn't stand there watching her suffer needlessly like that. So I asked the nurse to page the staff doctor for me. She did that and he came. When he came, I told him what had happened. I told him, look, I told the Lasix is not going to work. But she did not listen to me. She felt like I insulted her. So I told him, Gracie needs CPAP to help her. This is not helping her. So he said to me, okay, let's wait a little while longer. And if it's not working, then we're going to give a CPAP. I expected that from him because I didn't expect for him to come there right off the bat and say, oh yeah, let's give a CPAP. No, he would not go against what she had already said and what she had already done. A little while later, he came back to me and said, Mom, you've always told us what to do and you've always been right. So we are going to give her the CPAP. They put her on CPAP and right away you could see a drastic change in her breathing. Gracie could relax a little bit. I just stood there and I shook my head and said, this child did not need to suffer so much. She could have broken a rib by breathing like this. She could have passed out where she would need to be intubated. And none of that was needed. But thank God this man came and she received the CPAP that she desperately needed. When that happened, there were a lot of people who were mad. There were people who were mad when I said, do everything you can do for my daughter to keep her alive. She's not going to hospice. When I said she needed CPAP, people were very, very, very upset. But it's okay. It's mind over matter. You understand? It's not about the doctor. It's not about the doctor's ego. It's about what is best for this child. What does this child need to help her? And what she needed was CPAP, and she received the CPAP, and she was doing better. Thank God. So during that week, the Saturday of that week, I remember going to the hospital. My husband dropped us off. He dropped us off at the hospital, Caleb and I, and we went to Gracie's bedside. Whilst we were there, it just felt like, oh my gosh, just thick, dark clouds surrounding us. The atmosphere was not welcoming. It was not easy. That morning, it was really tough. Because here Gracie's lying down, small little child. I felt really, really down. I felt low that day. And I prayed. I said, Lord, please, please, Lord, send me somebody to encourage me. Somebody in authority. I tell you, we serve a mighty good God. Whilst I was there with Caleb standing by the bedside, talking to Gracie, reading my Psalms, singing to Gracie, Jesus loves grace, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. I inserted her name in that song. I saw the staff doctor for that day. He was coming towards me with another person. And when they got there next to us, they stopped and the staff doctor introduced that man to me as a doctor. I don't remember his name. He came and he gave me a paper and he said, this is a survey. I would like you to fill that survey for us, please. Do you mind doing that? I said, no, it's fine. And I took the paper. I was confused because of questions. So I turned around to see if I would see the doctor, but I did not see the staff doctor, but I saw the other doctor he introduced to me. So he was coming towards me. When I saw him coming towards me, when he got closer to me, as soon as I was about to ask him a question, he was about to speak to me. So I said, sorry, go ahead. And he said, no, you go ahead. So then I asked him if the questions were about the doctors or the nurses. He said, it's about the doctor. I said, okay, thank you. Then I said, what were you about to say? And he said, why did you name her Grace? And I said, because of the grace of God. And he said to me, who is Grace? I said, why don't you tell me? Then he said to me, Jesus is Grace. And out of the blue, this man told me, don't listen to nothing they're telling you. Do what you're doing. Don't listen to nothing they're saying. Do what you're doing. When the man said that to me, my jaw dropped. And I was like, oh my God. I just prayed and asked God for somebody in authority to come and encourage me. And God has sent me that person. God has already heard my prayer. God has already answered my prayer. And this is the person He sent me to encourage me. I felt so encouraged. I was so happy. When the man told me that, I was so happy. I was so encouraged. I filled out the form. I gave it to the people. Then my husband came around midday. So I told him what had happened. He said, really? I said, yes. He said, okay, let me go look for him. He went to look for that person. My husband looked from the ground floor up to the 8th floor. And up to now, my husband never saw that person. So when he came back, he said, I didn't find him. I couldn't find that person you described. I said, what do you mean you couldn't find him? He's not hard to find. He's a black doctor. He's not that hard to find. And he was like, no, I couldn't find him. I did not find him. I looked everywhere. I said, oh my gosh. Gracie stayed in that hospital for more than 8 months. Never again did I see that doctor. I'd never seen that man before. Never again did I see that man, except for that moment on that Saturday morning. I saw that man. I spoke to that man. He spoke to me. And never again have I seen him or heard. Never again have I seen that person. I tell you, God is so good. We serve a mighty good God. He says to ask and you shall receive. And I asked. And right there, He answered my prayer. That same day, that same morning, somebody came to encourage me. Somebody in authority. When you have a child with trisomy 18, we go through a lot of things as parents. We are told that our children are not compatible with life. Or the way they talk to you is like, your child is not worth it. Your child is not going to leave. Why waste your time? But to you parents out there, you know it's not true. You know it's not a waste of your time. I love Grace so much. And I tell her all the time, Gracie, I am so happy that you are a part of our family. You are my blessing. No, she's not a disappointment. She's not a burden. But she is a blessing to me and my family. I often sit there and watch Gracie and say, oh my gosh, what if she was in a family and this family didn't care about her? This family didn't love her. It hurts my heart to even think this way. And then I look at her and I say, Grace, I'm so happy you are a part of our family. I am so happy you are here. The love that we give to these children, it is such a wonder. It helps them so much. It helps those children to achieve so much by the grace of God. So for people out there, when you see me with my daughter and say, Pearl, I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. I want to say to you, you don't know how you would do it. You wouldn't be able to do it because you are not destined to do it. God has not chosen you, but God has chosen us. He has given us the grace. He has given us the strength. He is providing everything that we need to be able to do it. And I don't want nobody watching me like, oh, you feeling sorry for me with PT. No, don't do that. I am not feeling sorry for myself. I am proud of our daughter. I am proud to be her mother. I am not ashamed of her, and I love her very much. And to the story of Grace, Why did I name her Grace? When we were looking for a name for Gracie, I remember praying and asking God for a name. And the name that was given to me was Grace. And I named her Grace. And when I said to my friends, I'm going to name her Gabrielle because I've always loved Gabrielle. And I said, I'm going to name her Gabrielle Grace. And they were like, Gabrielle Grace? No, change your name. I'm like, no. And they were like, okay, if you're not going to change your name, we're going to call her Gigi. And I'm like, no, you're not going to call my child Gigi. Then I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to take out Gabrielle. I'm going to keep Grace. And they were like, Grace? Why Grace? Change your name. Why Grace? I said, no, I'm keeping Grace. And I thank God so very much that I did not change that name Grace. Because Grace just amplifies her life. Everything just shows you so much what grace means. Gracie is truly grace. Her life is truly grace. God's grace is enough. God knew why He gave me the name Grace. And for whatever reason, people wanted me to change that name. And I thank God I did not change that name. I stuck to the name that God gave me. And now I see really why God chose that name Grace for our daughter. She is truly Grace. Trisomy 18 parents. It's a long, hard road. You're going to get many obstacles in the way. People are going to try to make you feel bad. People are going to say things about you. They're going to look at you as the worst parents. They are actually going to say, you don't love your child. You are the worst parent ever. Why are you allowing your child to go through this? But don't let them get into your head. You are doing this because you love your daughter or your son. And you are doing this because there is a chance. There is a chance for your child to survive. It doesn't matter. God loves you. God knows why this child is here. And that child has a purpose. And by the grace of God, you will be able to do what you are supposed to do as a parent. Be there for your child. Love your child. Don't ever feel ashamed of your child. It's a lot of work. It's hard. And people will not make it easy for us. But like I said previously, it is mind over matter. Until next time, take care of yourselves and Grace's journey and God's faithfulness continues.